Have you ever felt overlooked in a conversation, even though you are doing your best to get others to listen? Why is it that some people can say just one sentence, and immediately everyone is paying attention, while you get brushed aside despite putting in all your effort? The surprising truth is, it's not always the loudest or the smartest person who earns respect. It's how you present yourself that really makes the difference. Welcome to Wisdom Daily. Today, we will explore 5 proven ways to communicate so that others not only listen, but also respect you. Way 1. Stop apologizing unnecessarily. You've probably been in a situation like this. You accidentally bump into someone on the street and immediately blurt out, "Oh, I'm sorry," even though you were standing still. So why do we apologize so much? Apologizing is a natural action and often considered polite, right? But what happens when we use the word sorry too frequently, even when it's not needed? The truth is, over-apologizing can make you seem weak and lacking in confidence. Imagine you're in a meeting, and just because you're 1-2 minutes late, you quickly apologize. Not only does this make you feel uncomfortable, but it also leads those around you to think you may lack confidence or seriousness. Apologizing unnecessarily actually sends the wrong message. I've done something wrong, don't take me too seriously. If you're someone who apologizes for things that aren't your fault, you're unintentionally lowering your value in the eyes of others. How you communicate directly influences how others perceive you. When you apologize for little things, you're allowing others to think you don't have the confidence to stand firm, even when you haven't done anything wrong. So how do you change this habit and replace sorry with more confident phrases that help you maintain respect and control in communication? One simple trick is, instead of saying, "Sorry, I'm late," try saying, "Thank you for waiting." Why thank you instead of sorry? When you say, "Thank you for waiting," you're not only showing respect for the other person's time, but you're also indicating that you fully grasp the situation and don't feel guilty. This is a confident way of communicating, showing that you know what you're doing and are accountable for your actions. Think about it. Instead of feeling guilty, you can choose an attitude of gratitude. Thank you for waiting creates a more positive environment, showing respect for others while helping you maintain confidence and control in the conversation. Now, how do you replace the habit of apologizing in other situations? For example, when you accidentally interrupt someone, instead of saying, "Sorry for cutting you off," try saying, "I really wanted to share an idea and didn't want to interrupt you." You'll find that this shift not only helps you communicate more effectively, but also makes you appear more confident and respectful in the eyes of others. The habit of unnecessary apologizing isn't just a small issue, it's an essential part of how you present yourself. Stopping yourself from apologizing unnecessarily will help you become stronger and more confident in communication. So next time you feel the urge to apologize, pause and ask yourself, do I really need to apologize, or should I just show more respect and confidence? Next, we'll talk about another important factor in building respect in communication: setting boundaries and standing firm with them. Way 2. Set boundaries and stick to them. Think about a situation where you always feel the need to please others, even if it drains you. Perhaps you've agreed to join a project despite not having enough time, or maybe you've taken on a request from a friend, even though you already had your own plans. Why do you do this? The simple answer: you don't want to make things difficult for others, or you fear that if you say no, you'll be seen as selfish or unfriendly. However, if you always put others' needs above your own, you will gradually lose respect for yourself and your time. Setting boundaries is not selfish. In fact, it's a way to protect yourself, your time, and your well-being. When you don't have boundaries, you're allowing others to decide how they treat you, and you have no control over what happens in your life. You won't be able to maintain peace and energy unless you know how to say no when necessary. You've probably felt tired when someone constantly bothers you, asking for help without respect for your time, and you feel like you have no right to refuse. But the truth is, when you don't set boundaries, you're teaching others that they have the right to abuse your time and effort without any consequences. Let's take the example of a close friend. You know they will always ask for your help when they're in trouble, and whether you're busy or not, you still feel like it's hard to say no. But if you don't learn to set boundaries, you'll always be the one who's taken advantage of. When you firmly refuse to help in a situation where you know you can't, you're not only protecting yourself, but also letting them know that you value your time and well-being. One of the easiest ways to set boundaries is to learn how to say no, politely and firmly. When you say no, you're not only protecting yourself, but also showing that you have self-respect and respect for your own needs. Try a phrase like this when you need to decline a request. "Sorry, I can't help you right now. I have my own plans and need to prioritize them." This statement is not only clear, but also shows decisiveness and respect for yourself. Another way to maintain boundaries is when someone asks you to work outside of your regular hours. You can say, "I need to finish my tasks during working hours. I can't continue beyond that." This way, you show respect for your work while also respecting the time of others. When you set boundaries and stick to them, you not only show respect for yourself, but also help others understand that your time, energy, and health are important. If you don't protect these things, no one else will do it for you. Respect doesn't just come from how you treat others, it also comes from how you treat yourself. When you firmly maintain your boundaries, you not only build healthier relationships, but you also create an environment where others will respect you and what you stand for. Now that we've learned how to set and stick to our boundaries, we'll explore another important factor for effective communication, the art of stopping or pausing, so your words always have value. Way 3. Practice the art of stopping, pausing. Imagine you're in a conversation and you feel the need to keep talking constantly to express your point, to prove that you are knowledgeable and have something to say. You talk faster, longer, and keep repeating your opinions. But have you ever wondered if constantly talking actually helps in communication? Silence can be a more powerful tool than you think. While many of us assume that the more we talk, the more we prove our value, the truth is that this is not always the case. Silence, at the right moment, can help you capture attention and make your words more valuable. Never view silence as a lack of confidence or knowledge. In fact, silence can be a sign of confidence and control. When you pause after making a statement, you give others space to think and respond. You not only allow them to engage in the conversation, but also show that you trust their ability to understand and don't need to speak further to prove yourself. Here's an easy-to-understand example. Think about some of the most famous speeches you've heard. Surely, one of the factors that made those speeches memorable was the silence after important statements. After the speaker makes a profound point, they don't immediately continue talking. Instead, they hold a pause for a few seconds, allowing their words to sink in with the audience. When they speak again, their next words carry more weight because the silence created space for the audience to reflect. Silence not only helps you convey a stronger message, but also increases the level of respect others have for you. When you know when to stop, others will pay more attention to what you say because they won't feel overwhelmed by a stream of continuous words. This doesn't mean you should be silent throughout the conversation, but rather that you need to know when to stop and create a pause. Sometimes, a simple question or a brief comment can have a greater impact when you allow the listener time to absorb and respond. Silence isn't a meaningless gap. It's an intentional part of communication. When you master the art of pausing, you not only enhance the value of your words, but also make others feel heard and give them a chance to contribute to the conversation. A simple tip to practice the art of pausing is, after you've finished a sentence or shared an important idea, hold silence for a few seconds. Observe and listen to the reactions of the person you're speaking with. You'll find that creating this space not only makes the other person feel more comfortable, but also makes you appear more confident and in control in their eyes. Silence is an invisible power that most people don't realize. Don't fear silence, because it's the moment when you show your confidence and composure, helping you build strong and reliable communication relationships. Next, we will explore another crucial element of effective communication using humor without becoming a clown. Way 4. Use humor without becoming a clown. Humor is a powerful tool in communication. When used correctly, it can ease tense situations, connect people, and make you more approachable. However, have you ever felt that a joke or a playful remark unintentionally reduced the respect others had for you? Maybe you used humor to alleviate discomfort, but did you realize that using it at the wrong moment could make you appear as a clown in others' eyes? Humor, when used appropriately, can create a strong and memorable connection. It makes the conversation more enjoyable and helps everyone feel more at ease. However, the issue arises when you overuse humor or deploy it at the wrong time. You may end up losing the respect others have for you. You've probably encountered people who use humor to reduce tension in a conversation, but instead of making others feel comfortable, they end up making the situation feel trivial and lacking in seriousness. A common example is using humor in the workplace. You might think that jokes can lighten the mood in a meeting, but if you overdo it, you might be seen as unserious or even unprofessional. When you use humor to avoid dealing with difficult situations or to ease important conversations, you may come across as avoiding the issue rather than addressing it head-on. So, how do you use humor without becoming a clown? The key is that humor must have purpose and be context-appropriate. Humor isn't a way for you to cover up insecurity or make people laugh to dispel your own discomfort. Instead, humor should be used to highlight important points you want to convey or to create closeness and connection with the other person. When you use humor with intention, you not only maintain respect, but also demonstrate confidence and intelligence. Think about the public figures you admire. Do they frequently use humor to connect with their audience? But they don't use humor recklessly. Instead, they choose the right moment and context to make their words more engaging, while still maintaining dignity and value. A tip for using humor properly in communication is: use light-hearted, purposeful jokes. For instance, when you're in a tense meeting, instead of constantly cracking jokes that distract people, you can insert a light joke to ease the tension while still maintaining professionalism. For example, you might say, "If we can wrap up this issue quickly, I'll be happy to buy everyone coffee." This is a light-hearted joke that doesn't undermine the seriousness of the meeting, but helps everyone relax. The most important thing is to ensure that your humor doesn't make others feel like you're trying too hard to make them laugh at the expense of respect in the conversation. When you use humor at the right time and in the right way, you will become approachable, but still maintain respect and authority in your discussions. After learning how to use humor wisely and effectively, we will now move on to another important topic: avoiding gossip. Way 5. Stop participating in gossip. You've probably been part of gossip, discussing people around you or sharing less than positive information about someone in your group. Sometimes, these conversations might seem like a way to connect with others, or just to keep up with what's going on. But have you ever wondered if participating in these conversations really benefits you? Gossip can actually diminish the trust and respect others have for you. Although we might think sharing interesting stories or a little insider information is harmless, the truth is that these conversations not only negatively affect the person you're talking about, but they also diminish your value in the eyes of others. When you engage in gossip, you unintentionally create an image of yourself as someone unreliable, who can't keep secrets and is willing to share unofficial information. Here's a simple example. You're in a conversation with friends or colleagues, and they begin to share negative stories about someone who isn't present. They might criticize, complain, or tell negative tales about that person. The question is, do you participate in this conversation? If you do, you might feel like you belong to the group and are being acknowledged. But in reality, when you take part in such conversations, you harm your reputation and the respect others have for you. You've probably encountered situations where someone gossiped about you or someone else. Not only does that make you uncomfortable, but it also makes you lose trust in the people involved in that conversation. Gossip can create an unhealthy environment where no one can trust each other. And if you engage in such conversations, you're contributing to creating that environment. So, why would you participate in gossip if it can harm your reputation? The truth is, sometimes we engage in these conversations because we want to fit in, connect, or make the conversation more interesting. But by engaging in gossip, you lose the respect others have for you. People will see you as unreliable, always ready to join in on unnecessary talks. Instead of engaging in gossip, be the one who maintains respect and calmness in conversations. When you refuse to take part in unhealthy stories, you show that you are principled, respectful of others, and committed to maintaining your integrity. In fact, you can change the subject and steer the conversation toward more positive matters. A great way to avoid participating in gossip is when someone starts sharing negative stories about someone else. You can say, "I don't think this is how we should speak about others." This not only helps you maintain respect with the people you're talking to, but also builds your image as a responsible and trustworthy person. When you stop participating in gossip, you not only protect yourself, but also create a positive communication environment where everyone can trust one another and build strong relationships. Now that you know how to avoid gossip and maintain respect in communication, let's recap the effective communication methods we've explored together above. So, we've just explored 5 ways to communicate so that others respect you. Simple yet highly effective methods for building confidence and respect in every conversation. Remember, respect doesn't just come from words, but also from how you present yourself through small yet meaningful actions. We've learned about stopping unnecessary apologies, setting and sticking to your boundaries, practicing the art of silence to create space for others, using humor with purpose, and stopping participation in gossip to maintain your self-worth. Each of these elements will help you communicate more effectively, gaining respect and building lasting, trustworthy relationships. Thank you for joining us today on Wisdom Daily. Remember, you have the power to decide how others treat you. When you communicate with confidence, set proper boundaries, and know when to stay silent, you'll not only be listened to, but truly respected. So, what do you think about these methods? Have you ever encountered a situation where you felt disrespected in communication? Share your thoughts in the comments below this video. And don't forget to subscribe to Wisdom Daily to continue exploring valuable lessons on life and effective communication. If you found this video helpful, feel free to share it with your loved ones. We always aim to create a community where everyone learns and grows together. Remember, respect starts with you. Keep taking action, keep learning, and join us on this journey with Wisdom Daily. Thank you for watching, and we'll see you in the next video.